Hello, and welcome to The Painting Behind the Portrait, the show where if you can't paint it, you might as well explain it. I'm your host, Andrew Ross. Today, we are going to be taking a look at a painting called The Man in the Red Turban, made by the painter Jan van Eyck of the early Renaissance. While this painting was made during the Renaissance, it hardly resembles a Renaissance painting, or anything seen before it. It foreshadowed the modern era more than any of Jan's other paintings, and perhaps more than any painting in the Renaissance. One of the many ways it did this was through its physical representation. So for instance, the man in the red turban isn't actually wearing a turban or anything Middle Eastern or Turkish at all. Really what he is wearing is something called a chaperon. This had a main headpiece that was connected to two other headpieces, one on the left and one on the right. These headpieces were very elite and only the rich people had them. So already he's trying to show how rich and wealthy he is. But not only this allows him to flip these over and tie them on the top. Right here you can see where this one is tied up on the top in the real painting. And he did this to make it very intricate and create a lot of different waves so that it was harder to do, which allowed him to capture more details. Now, as we continue on, we can also look at the eyes. The eyes were one of the most important parts of the whole painting, also because they wrap up the painting in the most important way. So, right here we can see the iris, the pupil over here, and it's great. He did a great job on it, but it's not the most important part of the eye. Really, what the most important part of the eye is the white outside. So we can see that it is just white in the painting, but there is actually a red underlayer under the white paint on top. So what he did was he has a bunch of red underneath, and rather than creating veins like this and just painting them on top of white color, what he actually did was he put white on top of the red and left a couple different red pieces exposed, as you can see, like right here, giving the illusion of veins. And right here I did it badly even with a marker, but he's using paint, oil and paint, and he has done a fantastic job, which just continues to show his how ahead of his time he was. Now, if we continue going, another way that it foreshadowed was through the symbolism that it showed. So for instance, on the frame with the inscription Als ik kan. Now, when the Greeks used this and they said Als ik kan followed by as I would. What this means is as I can, as I would. It was a very humble saying that basically meant I did as good as I could, but not as good as I could, if that makes sense. I tried my best, but I didn't do as good as I could. It was a very humble way of saying I tried, but I'm not quite there yet. Whereas when you look over at Jan van Eyck, he's just saying as I can. It's a very prideful, very prideful way of saying it's not that good of a painting, when clearly it was a very good painting, one of the best paintings in almost all of history in the Renaissance. Even right here, you can see the ik stands for his name as well, Eyck. So another place that we see the symbolism is again on the frame, but it has the date, the exact date actually, of when this painting was made, October 21st, 1433. Now again, this doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it's actually quite crucial to this painting because really almost every painting in the Renaissance had the year, sure, but it almost never had the exact date that it was made to the day. It is believed he did this because, for one, his income came from him making art. That was his way of making money, so he wanted to lure customers. So when people would come in and begin talking to him about the painting, he would say, oh yeah, I made that, or I started making it on the 1st of October, and they would be in awe of how he could make a painting in 21 days, or something like that. He would make it seem better using the date. Very prideful, and also very connected to capitalism. He's just trying to get money, and he's just trying to gain material wealth out of his painting, rather than what the ancients would do, which would be connecting the painting to the immaterial or a spiritual side of things. So this is very different, and it's very connected to modernity, because sure, Capitalism isn't rooted in modernity, but it is deeply connected to modernity. Again, now the last piece of symbolism comes from the painting itself, and specifically the eyes, because the eyes are looking straight at you. They're looking straight at you. So here we have this beautiful, beautiful portrait, self-portrait. It's beautiful, it's intricate, it has so many great details that would have taken forever to make. And it's staring straight down towards you. The first painting in centuries to stare straight at you, to stare straight through the painting. In fact, it's believed that it's possibly one of the first self-portraits that stared straight out of the painting. So rather than having an ancient painting that's looking out to an immaterial or unseen realm or unseen part of the painting, it's looking straight out at you. Now, many people have wondered where it's looking, and like scholars and artists have wondered this question for a very long time, but I think it's really quite obvious. This painting, this character, John, is looking at the same thing that the ancients tried to deny, the same thing that modernity accepts and pushes after. He's looking at man. He's looking at himself. So, sure, Als ich kann is the thing that is framed, that is on the frame, but really what should be here is the slogan of the modern world. You do you. The slogan of the modern world, and the thing the painting was hell-bent on capturing.